The moment I turned around and realized the car was gone, with my daughters inside, I knew I had made the worst mistake of my life. But let me start at the beginning. My name is Nastia. I'm a mother of two beautiful, chaotic, loud little girls who mean the world to me. And maybe that's why I forgot I was a woman too. For years, my world was diapers, school lunches, missing socks, and washing tiny clothes. No time for dreams, for romance. No room for me. Until one day I snapped. It wasn't dramatic, no whine, no tears, no midnight crisis. I just looked at myself in the mirror and didn't recognize the woman staring back. She looked invisible, like someone life had walked right past. That's when I let Dasha convince me to try online dating. She was my friend, my coworker, my emotional punching bag when I needed to vent. And she was persistent. Nastia, you need a man. Not a dad for the girls, a man for you. She said it like it was an act of self-care, like putting on lipstick or going to the spa. So I made a profile. That's also how we pulled poor Alia into this mess. The three of us were a strange trio, me, Dasha, and Alia. I was the quiet, cautious one. Dasha, bold and loud, with 1,000 exes and 0 regrets. Alia was sweet, awkward, and always seemed to attract trouble like a magnet. We didn't expect her to get a date first. She texted us one night, "Girls. He's hot. Smart. Not a creep, I think. Meeting tomorrow." We waited the next day like anxious hens. Called her 5 times. No answer. Joked about her kissing in parked cars. But by the time she finally stumbled into our favorite cafe, shaking, pale, her tights ripped and her hair a mess, all jokes died. "I think he followed me," she whispered. He said he'd find me again. The cafe went dead silent. She told us how they had dinner, danced, then he offered her a ride. She accepted, mistake number 1. She said she felt something was off when he missed her street. She asked him to stop. He didn't. When he started touching her, she threw open the door, kicked off her heels, and ran. We were horrified. Furious. But Dasha, as always, had a plan. We made a scene. Pretended we were crazy. Groped each other, laughed maniacally, and scared the pervert off so badly he almost tripped over his own feet running away. It worked. Somehow. But Alia didn't sleep for days. That should have been a warning. Instead, we joked. "We're a gang," Dasha laughed. "A band of broken girls. The 3 musketeers of online dating." Then I met him. His name was Mikola. Or as Dasha later called him, the last unicorn of Eastern Europe. He was polite, witty, handsome in that classic, chiseled jaw kind of way. We talked online for weeks before I agreed to meet. I told Dasha everything. That I felt butterflies again. That maybe, just maybe, I had found someone worth trusting. But I was scared. And Dasha, sweet, toxic Dasha, offered to come with me. Just for safety, she said. And to sniff him out. It was the worst decision I could have made. He was everything I hoped. Kind. Charming. Called me Nastuja like it meant something. But then Dasha happened. She flirted the whole time. Touched his arm. Laughed too loud. Took over the conversation. I felt like a ghost at my own date. At one point, when I excused myself, I heard her tell him I was fragile and too good for this world. That maybe he'd be better off with someone more open-minded. I didn't say anything. I just smiled. Ordered dessert. And cried later when I was home alone. The next day, she swore it was nothing. That he wasn't her type. That I was overreacting. But I saw it, the hunger in her eyes when she looked at him. And then, like in some twisted rom-com, Dasha suddenly had her own perfect man. A mysterious stranger from Facebook. A TV host with connections and charm. But she wouldn't say his name. Wouldn't show us photos. Wouldn't even let us see his texts. I started to feel like I was losing my mind. Then Alia found her at a cafe alone. No mystery man. Just Irina, sitting by herself, pretending to wave at someone who never came. Why lie? I asked her later. Why invent boyfriends? She didn't answer. Just shrugged. Maybe I just want to be someone too. That night, I couldn't sleep. Mikola had asked to meet again. This time, with my kids. I hesitated. Alia begged me not to. You barely know him, she said. He's still just a stranger. But I wanted to believe. I wanted this story to be different. So I said yes. And that's how we ended up on that country road, me, him, and my two little girls asleep in the back seat. He pulled over. Need a quick stop? He asked. We're close. I nodded. But brake softly, I whispered. Don't wake them. I stepped out, stretched, took a deep breath of pine-scented air. When I came back, the car was gone. My girls were gone. My heart shattered. I screamed. Loud. Raw. Animal. No one answered. Just trees and wind. I ran back and forth along the road, as if maybe I'd missed the car, maybe he just parked somewhere else. My feet pounded the gravel until they burned. But I knew. He was gone. With my daughters. My first instinct was denial. Maybe it's a joke. Maybe he just drove ahead to turn around. Maybe no. I knew what this was. I felt it in the hollow pit of my stomach. He planned this. He knew I had no one with me. He waited until I stepped out. He knew when the kids would be asleep. Mikola had planned every step. And I had led him straight to them. I tried calling his phone. Straight to voicemail. Over and over. Number not in service. The profile he used deleted. Vanished. Gone. I couldn't even remember the license plate number. God, why didn't I look? Why didn't I think? My hands were shaking so badly I couldn't dial properly. Eventually, I managed to call Alya. She answered on the first ring. Alya, I choked. He took them. He took the girls. My babies, what? Who? Nastya, where are you? I told her everything between gasps, my voice cracking from panic. She told me to stay put and try to find anyone to help. And, just like that, I was running again. Down the road. Into the forest. Back to the roadside. I finally found a small gas station a few kilometers away. The clerk looked confused as I burst in, barefoot, crying. I need help. He took my children. Please, please call the police. Minutes later, a man in a leather jacket with sharp eyes and a kind voice pulled up. He introduced himself. I don't remember his name, just that he drove fast and called in favors even faster. Said he had a cousin in the local police. He didn't ask questions. He just acted. Alya and Dasha met me an hour later at the nearest station. By then, I was barely holding it together. Dasha grabbed my hands the second she saw me. Nastya, we're going to find them. I swear to God. Alya didn't say anything. She just hugged me so tight I could barely breathe. I thought I hated her just days ago. For being right. For warning me. For knowing something I didn't want to hear. But now, all I felt was gratitude. She was their dot. They both were. At the station, everything blurred. The officers asked for details I didn't have. Mikola's full name? Just Mikola. Last name? Never asked. Phone number? Disconnected. Address? I had nothing. Except for one thing. I took a picture, I whispered. Of the three of us. At the restaurant. I pulled out my phone. Shaky fingers, tear-blurred eyes. Scrolled past old pictures of my daughters, birthday cakes, drawings, and laughter. There, the photo. Me, him, Dasha. Laughing. Smiling. A car in the background. Zoom in. Enhance. Hope. Dasha leaned over me and hissed. Wait. That's it. Look at the corner, you can see the license plate. It was blurry. Cropped. But it was something. We showed it to the officer. We'll check it out, he said, but his voice lacked conviction. They were trying, but we all knew the truth. Once children disappear, time is everything. And we were already behind. I didn't sleep that night. None of us did. Dasha made me tea, then vodka, then tea again. She said nothing about how this was all my fault. Alya cleaned up the blood on my foot from when I stepped on broken glass outside the gas station. And I cried. Every hour. Every memory. Every regret. All of it poured out like poison. Why did I bring them? I whispered at one point. Why didn't I listen to you, Alya? Because you wanted to be happy, she said. And there's no shame in that. She was wrong. There was shame. There was guilt so heavy it crushed my lungs. I kept hearing my girls' voices in my head. Ksenia saying, Mama, look at my drawing. Alya laughing as she brushed her doll's hair. I kept hearing the last thing I said to them. Just 5 minutes, girls. Don't wake up, okay? My God. The police were slow. Too slow. Dasha, God bless her, took charge. We're not waiting, she said. We're going to track him down ourselves. Dasha, how? I know people. I know how people think. Let's go. We visited every service station, car dealership, and repair shop in the city. Looking for that car. A black Audi, newer model, expensive tires. Winter wheels. We used the blurry photo as reference. And finally, we caught a break. One guy at a tire center said, "Yeah, I saw that one. Winter tires, right? Bought a full set last week. Crazy expensive. Paid cash." Do you have the receipt? Dasha asked. He did. And on it, a partial license plate. A customer name. It wasn't Mikola. But it was something. Alia made a few phone calls. Her cousin's friend worked with traffic control. Another favor. Another miracle. And just like that, we had an address. We didn't wait. We drove straight there. But it wasn't what we hoped. A woman opened the door. Kind eyes. Confused face. She told us the car had been stolen 2 weeks ago. Another dead end. Back in the car, I collapsed in Dasha's lap. I've lost them, I sobbed. They're gone. No, Dasha whispered, brushing my hair back. No, we're just getting started. That was when Alia's phone rang. She picked up. Went pale. Nodded. Looked at us. Police spotted the car, she said. On a forest road. Near a village about 30 minutes away. I was already in the passenger seat. Drive, I said. Drive like hell. We didn't speak on the way there. There was no room for words. Just the sound of tires tearing over wet roads and my heart pounding so loud I thought it would break through my chest. Dasha was driving like she was possessed. Alia kept glancing at her phone, updating the location the police had sent. I sat in the passenger seat, numb, cold, rigid, like my bones had turned to glass. My girls were out there. Somewhere in the trees. Alive, I prayed. Please, let them be alive. The last few kilometers took us off the main road, onto a narrow path lined with pine trees so thick they swallowed all the light. Fog curled at the edges of the forest, and the sun had started to sink. It felt like we were entering another world. There, Alia said suddenly. Look. Do you see that? A house. Or more like a cabin, hidden behind tall hedges, a crooked fence, and a long, winding driveway. And parked outside, the car. His car. Dasha hit the brakes and we all lunged forward. My breath caught in my throat. This is it. I was out of the car before it fully stopped, sprinting, screaming. Ksenia. Alia. I didn't care who heard me. I wanted him to hear me. I wanted to rip his face off with my bare hands. The cabin looked abandoned from afar, gray, peeling wood, one shutter half hanging. But as I got closer, I saw lights flickering through the curtains. I didn't think. I just ran. Wait. Dasha grabbed my arm. We don't know what's inside. What if he has a weapon? What if? I don't care. And I didn't. I would walk through fire for my daughters. Alia pulled out her phone. I'm calling the police again. Tell them we found the car. Found the cabin. Then we heard it. A small voice. Mama? My knees buckled. I turned toward the sound like lightning. Ksenia? Baby? There they were. Through the window. My girls. Sitting on a couch. Confused. Afraid. Unharmed. Thank God. Stay here, Dasha hissed, and before I could stop her, she was moving fast, stealthy, around the side of the cabin. She pulled a small canister from her bag, pepper spray. Of course she had it. Of course. Cover the front. If he bolts, block him, she called. Alia stayed by the car, still on the phone with the police. I took a shaky breath. Every part of me wanted to crash through the door and hold my children. But I had to be smart. For them. 10 agonizing minutes passed. Then the front door opened. It was him. Mikola. Or whatever his real name was. Still clean-shaven. Still smiling. As if this was some misunderstanding. Well, he said. I was wondering when you'd show up. I froze. His voice was so calm. Too calm. That same soft tone he used when he told me I looked beautiful. When he offered my daughters candy. You bastard, I hissed. He held up his hands. They're fine. They're safe. You overreacted. Overreacted? You abducted my children. I was bringing them to a better place, he said. You don't understand. Then, from behind him, Dasha appeared like a shadow. She had found the back door. She stepped inside, and she was holding a poker from the fireplace. Don't move, she snarled. He flinched. You wouldn't. You don't know me. Dasha's voice was ice. Controlled. Terrifying. Mikola hesitated, then took a step back. That was all I needed. I shoved past him into the room. My daughters shrieked, then saw me and launched into my arms, crying, trembling, calling my name. Mama! Mama! I kissed them 1,000 times, my face wet with tears. I'm here. I'm here. You're safe now. Police arrived minutes later. Mikola didn't resist. He went quietly, almost smugly, as if he had all the time in the world to explain himself. But I wasn't listening anymore. All I cared about was that my girls were alive. Whole. Unharmed physically, at least. Later that night, at my apartment, we sat in silence. Alia made tea. Dasha stared out the window. I was holding my daughters close, watching them sleep, their tiny chests rising and falling. I had questions. So many questions. Who is he? Why me? Why them? The police told us more the next day. His real name wasn't Mikola. He used different aliases, always targeting single mothers with young children. Promised love. Promised stability. Gained trust. Then he disappeared. With the kids. He was part of something bigger. A network. Trafficking. Selling children to couples abroad under fake adoption schemes. And no one ever saw them again. But my girls, we were lucky. So damn lucky. I should have seen it, I said that night. I should have known. You did nothing wrong, Alia said gently. But I didn't believe her. Not yet. Dasha, for once, said nothing at all. And I wondered, how do you learn to trust again after something like this? Because the truth was, I wasn't sure I ever could. For the first time in days, my daughters slept in their own beds. And I sat on the kitchen floor, knees pulled to my chest, watching the kettle boil but not getting up. There were bruises on my soul, ones no one could see, but they throbbed with every breath. Everyone said the same things. You're so strong, Nastya. They're safe now. That's what matters. You were brave. But I didn't feel brave. I felt broken. The guilt sat on my chest like a brick. I brought that man into their lives. I invited him in. I let him touch their hair, their little hands. I let him drive them away. No apology could wash that away. Dasha came over the next morning with coffee and a bottle of something stronger tucked in her purse. She didn't say hello, just dropped onto the chair across from me and stared. You look like shit. Thanks. She took a sip of coffee. You told the police everything? I nodded. Every word. She was quiet. Then, do they know how many women like you he's hurt? They're working on it. Dasha looked like she wanted to punch something. Maybe someone. Maybe herself. You remember that fake account we made? She asked. Oh. That? Yeah. I kept it, she said. Just in case. Just in case what? In case she needed to be reminded who she is. I frowned. Who? She didn't answer. But I knew. Darina. She had disappeared after everything happened. No calls. No texts. Vanished like smoke. At first, I didn't care. She had tried to take Mikola from me, the same man who kidnapped my daughters. If I'd listened to her, maybe the girls would have never made it back. But deep down, I missed her. She was still my friend. Or, she had been. 3 days later, she returned. Walked into the office like nothing had happened. Lipstick perfect. Hair curled. New boots. You're back, Alia said, ice in her voice. Darina shrugged. It was just a short break. I needed to process everything. Everything. She made it sound like a yoga retreat. I didn't know what to say. I wanted to scream. Or cry. Or both. Instead, I stood and said, we need to talk. She followed me into the stairwell. Quiet. Calm. Too calm. I almost died inside, I said. I thought my children were dead. And you disappeared. I didn't know what to say, she replied. I was ashamed. You were flirting with him. After I told you I liked him. After I told you I thought he was real. She crossed her arms. You think I wanted this? You think I knew he was a monster? I think you wanted him more than you wanted my friendship. That hit her. I could see it in her eyes, a crack. The guilt was there, buried deep, but it lived. She looked down. I get it, okay? I screwed up. But I never wanted you to get hurt. Well, I did. We all did. Even you. She looked up, and something shifted. Her voice changed. Softer. I lied about a lot of things, Nastia. That man on Facebook? Never existed. I made him up. I was so tired of being the one no one picked. She laughed, bitter and broken. Do you know what it's like to be the funny friend? The one with the big mouth and no real love? I see you and Alia and your kids and your normal lives, and I feel like I'm leftover. Like I'm extra. My anger wavered. I hadn't expected that. I saw the truth in her eyes. The loneliness. The self-hate. You're not extra, I said. But you don't have to step on others to matter. She wiped her cheek. I know. I just forgot. We didn't hug. We didn't cry together like in the movies. But she nodded and I nodded, and that was enough. For now. That night, Alia came over with a bag of groceries and something in her eyes, guilt, maybe, or shame. There's something I need to tell you, she said. I raised an eyebrow. Another secret? Kind of. She looked down. Played with the corner of a cereal box. I was against it. At first. The fake profile. But then I helped write the messages. What? The ones we sent to Darina. From that fake guy. I just thought if she got distracted, she'd stay away from Mikola. I didn't know. I stared at her. You didn't know what? That she was unraveling? That we were all hanging on by threads. She swallowed hard. No. I didn't know you'd nearly lose your children. Silence. And then I laughed. Not because it was funny. Because it was absurd. All of it. Everything we did. Every choice we made. Our stupid plan. Our fake messages. Our bitterness. We were a mess. But we were a mess together. Next time, I said, let's just talk to each other. Like grown-ass women. Alia nodded. Deal. Then we both sat down, opened a bottle of cheap wine, and didn't speak for a long, long time. Sometimes silence is the only apology that works. A week passed. I was back at work. My girls were going to school again, slowly getting back to normal. Dasha and I were speaking again, cautiously, but kindly. Even Darina texted me a photo of a dog she saw and said it reminded her of me, nervous but loyal. Maybe we'd be okay. And just when I thought it was over, I got the letter. From prison. It was from him. Mikola. Or Vadim. Or whatever name he was using that day. It was handwritten. Careful script. He wrote that he was sorry. That he never hurt the girls. That he thought he was giving them a better life. I saw something in you, he wrote. Something broken. Something familiar. He ended it with, one day, maybe you'll understand me. I tore the letter in half. Then into quarters. Then I burned it. Because there are some wounds that don't need closure. Only fire. Weeks passed. The scars were still there, invisible, but constant. Like whispers in the dark. Sometimes I'd wake up in the middle of the night just to check on the girls. To make sure they were still in their beds. Still breathing. Ksenia had started sucking her thumb again. Alia clung to her stuffed giraffe like it was life itself. They didn't say much about what happened. But kids are like sponges, they soak up trauma in silence. I took them to a therapist. Keep the routine, she said. Keep smiling. Keep holding them. So I did. Every morning I packed their lunches with a note. Every night we read books until they fell asleep. I showed up. Even when I was exhausted. Even when I felt like a ghost in my own body. Because I had to. Because I almost lost them. And something in me had shifted since that day in the woods. Since I saw their faces through that window, pale and wide-eyed and waiting. I realized something I'd forgotten. I'm strong. Not perfect. Not fearless. But strong in the way women have always been when no one's watching. When everything is falling apart and we smile anyway. Dasha surprised me with flowers at work. Not from me, she smirked. A secret admirer. Excuse me. She handed me a single sunflower wrapped in brown paper with a note clipped to the stem. For the woman who made it out of the fire. V. My stomach twisted. I looked at Dasha. Is this a joke? Not mine. She raised an eyebrow. But I think you have a fan. I didn't know whether to be flattered or afraid. The V felt too close to Vadim, Mikola, whatever. But something told me it wasn't him. I tucked the flower into my desk drawer and tried to forget about it. But the next day, another one appeared. This time, some women rise twice. Once from birth. Once from heartbreak. I didn't tell the girls. I didn't even tell Dasha, who would have turned it into a full-blown spy mission. But quietly, I began to wonder, was I being watched? Was someone paying attention? Alya was the one who finally broke the mystery. We were having lunch at our usual cafe when she said, "You know that paramedic from the night it happened? What about him? He asked about you." I blinked. Who? The one who found you at the gas station. He was the first person to call it in. Leather jacket. Nice eyes. I ran into him at the pharmacy. I felt my cheeks flush. And I may have given him your name. Your cafe. Your favorite flower. I stared at her. You're insane. She smiled. No, I'm a romantic. I wanted to be mad, but I couldn't stop smiling. His name was Victor. He didn't show up with champagne or roses or cheesy pickup lines. He came with quiet words and kind eyes and a strange, steady presence. The kind of man who looks you in the eye when you speak. He asked me out for coffee. I almost said no. My brain screamed no. But my heart whispered, try. So I did. I don't know how to date anymore, I told him on our second coffee. Good, he said. Neither do I. We laughed. It felt so normal. So terrifyingly normal. I told him everything. Not right away, but over time. He knew about the girls, of course. Knew what happened. But when I told him about the betrayal, the fear, the guilt, he just listened. Not once did he flinch. Not once did he make me feel small. He never tried to be a hero. He just showed up and kept showing up. That meant more than any grand gesture ever could. One evening, after I'd put the girls to bed, we sat on my balcony watching the city lights. You're different from the woman I met, he said. How? You're not hiding anymore. I looked at him. I'm still scared. Good, he said. It means you care. I don't know when I started falling for him. Maybe it was the first time he helped Alya fix her broken toy. Maybe it was when Ksenia fell asleep in his lap without fear. Or maybe it was when he looked at me like I was still whole, even with all the cracks. Dasha wasn't convinced. Too soon, she warned. You're still vulnerable. I'm not glass, Dasha. I won't shatter. She sighed. I just don't want you to get hurt again. I know, I said. But I also don't want to live like I'm waiting for the next betrayal. And Irina? She didn't say much. She just nodded when I told her. I hope he's good to you, she said. You deserve something real. I believed her. For the first time, I really believed her. We were sitting on a bench in the park, Victor, me, and the girls, when Ksenia tugged at my sleeve. Mama, she said. Are you happy now? I looked at her. I thought about everything. About Mikola. About the lies. About the fire I walked through and the friends I nearly lost. And then I smiled. I think I'm learning how to be. She nodded solemnly. Okay, then we're happy too. And, just like that, the pieces I thought I'd lost forever began to fall back into place. They say healing isn't a straight line. I used to think that meant slow progress, 2 steps forward, 1 step back. But it's more than that. Healing is jagged. Messy. Some days, it feels like you're drowning in yesterday. Other days, you surprise yourself by laughing at something stupid and realizing it's been weeks since you last cried. This was one of the good days. I stood in front of the mirror, buttoning my blouse, listening to the girls giggle in the hallway as they argued over who got the glitter headband. In the reflection, I saw someone I hadn't seen in years. Not the broken mother dot. Not the woman chasing after online ghosts. Just me. There were lines around my eyes that hadn't been there before. And a softness in my expression I hadn't noticed, a quiet strength. I liked her. The producers from a morning TV show had reached out after hearing what happened. We'd love to talk about your story, they said. How you overcame it. How you rebuilt. At first, I said no. Then I changed my mind. I wasn't doing it for attention. I was doing it for the women who hadn't spoken up. The ones who blamed themselves. The ones still searching for their missing children. Or worse, the ones who'd stopped searching altogether. Dasha came with me to the studio. She looked around the set and whispered, "God, I look like a criminal's ex-girlfriend." "You look amazing," I said. Like a woman who never backed down. Alia joined us too, carrying an enormous tote full of snacks and wet wipes, even though my kids weren't there. "We're a mess," she grinned, fixing my collar. "We're a gang," I corrected. "No," said Dasha, "we're a band." And for the first time in a long time, I let myself laugh fully, loudly, unashamed. The interview went well. I told the truth. The ugly parts, the scary parts, the small red flags I ignored. I didn't sugarcoat anything. I looked straight into the camera and said the words out loud. I didn't see it coming. Because I wanted to believe someone could love me. That's how it starts. But I'm still here. And then I added one more thing, just for the women watching. Don't feel ashamed if you've made mistakes. Feel proud that you survived them. When the segment aired, my inbox flooded. Messages from strangers, women I'd never met, telling me their own stories. Some had gotten out. Some were still inside the nightmare. All of them thanked me for speaking. But really, I should have thanked them. Because for the first time, I felt like I wasn't alone. A few weeks later, Victor surprised me. We were walking near the park, the one with the little fountain and too many pigeons, when he pulled a folded paper from his coat. "What's that?" I asked. He hesitated. "Just something I wrote. I didn't know if I'd ever give it to you." I opened it. It wasn't a love letter. It was a letter to them, my daughters. In simple, careful words, he wrote what he wished someone had told him as a boy. About courage. About being kind. About how their mother had saved their lives, not just with action, but with love. I blinked through tears. "Why would you write this?" He smiled, just a little. "Because they're already part of my story. I just hope one day I can be part of theirs." We didn't rush into anything. There was no fairy tale wedding, no big declarations. Just moments. Ordinary, perfect moments. The girls coloring in the kitchen while Victor fixed a wobbly table leg. A rainy Sunday where we all stayed in pajamas and made pancakes. And for the first time, I started to believe that happiness didn't have to come with conditions. It could just be. As for Dasha, she started therapy. Real therapy. She told me one day over coffee, I thought if I was the loudest in the room, I'd never feel small. "You're not small," I said. She smiled. "I know that now." "Alia?" "She's dating someone. Someone weird and nerdy who wears socks with pineapples on them and talks about astronomy. And she's glowing. Even Darina is doing better. She hasn't lied to us in weeks, which, in Dasha's words, is a new personal record. She's calmer now. Softer. And when she jokes, there's less bite and more warmth. We're not perfect. But we're still together. Still standing. Still a band. Sometimes, late at night, I remember the moment I walked out of the woods, holding my daughter's hands, blinded by fear but led by love. I thought I'd never get past it. But I did. Not because I'm fearless, I'm not. But because I'm human. Because I allowed myself to feel. To fail. To forgive. And to begin again. So if you ever find yourself standing in ashes, wondering how everything fell apart, let me tell you something. You can rise. And maybe, just maybe, you'll be stronger for it.